What's going on, everybody? This podcast was created to highlight the experiences of women serving in the military. Our voices are not the majority, but collectively, we have the power to help each other one sister at a time. Join us as we unpack the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is When We Serve. All right, a little disclaimer before we start. The opinions and perspectives shared in today's episode solely belong to the individuals and do not, I repeat, do not reflect the official stance of the DoD or any of its entities. Welcome back to the podcast. For those of you that are new, welcome. You know, like I said, this is a place where women talk about their experiences, whether past or present, in the military. Today, I have the honor of introducing a longtime friend that I met probably about like 10 years ago, I think, right? Yeah, 2016. Her name is Alexis. I'll let her do her formal introduction.
Hey guys, I'm Alexis. I am originally from Manassas, Virginia, born and raised in Virginia. I currently live in Virginia, and I know CJ from the military back in the Navy times.
All right, so what is your military background for those that don't know?
I commissioned in 2015 out of VMI, Virginia Military Institute. It's a tough school. That's where I went to college. So I did ROTC through there. If you go to VMI, you can either commission or you can just graduate. There's no obligation like the service academies.
Okay.
So like if you go to West Point or Annapolis, you know, you have your commitment. But also that education's free and VMI is not free. So
Yeah. Is that why you wanted to join as an officer? Like one of your driving factors?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to go into the military, and my grandfather was in the military and he was
Okay.
officer. So I figured if I'm going to go in at all, I want to go officer route. And I wanted to go to college because
Okay.
I had them good grades. So
Yeah. Was that the one school like you really wanted to go to, or did you apply to other schools?
no, in reality, I really wanted to go to Annapolis, the Naval Academy. I really wanted to get into that school, but the interview didn't go great.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
They have like a prep school that I did get into, but I was like, I don't want to have to do like an extra year of college.
And then so when you applied there, you automatically applied into the ROTC program?
I applied for an ROTC scholarship, so you have to
Okay.
apply to, I think you have to apply to 5 colleges that have ROTC. And so I was like, if I don't get an ROTC scholarship, at least if I go to VMI, I can commission.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the reasoning
Okay.
for that.
So you
Yeah.
commissioned in 2015. Do you guys do, I know like the Naval Academy, you see it all over social media. They do their, it's that ceremony where they get to pick where they go. It's kind of like a big deal. All the SWAs get
Oh,
together.
yeah.
Yeah. Did
Yeah.
you guys
Ship
do something like
selection.
that? Yeah. Did you
Yeah,
guys do something like that?
we did that. It was definitely not a glorified ship selection like how the
Yeah.
Naval Academy does it. You know, they have that huge stage and
Yeah.
like people from all ships go to kind of like be like, hell yeah, like you're coming to join our crew.
Hmm.
Not like that at all. So
Okay.
we just basically got a time slot. We went into our office and then we picked where we were gonna go.
And where did you choose?
I definitely wanted to be in San Diego
Hmm.
because that was just what everybody wanted. It was all the hype. It's like, why not live
Yeah.
out in San Diego? Especially because, you know, I've been on the East Coast my whole life. So I was like, let's do a change.
Yeah.
So did West Coast. And then I knew for sure I wanted to be on an amphib just based off of, you know, like their mission and learning about all the different ships. I was like, amphib, San Diego, sign me up.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I
And
picked
so,
the Rushmore.
okay, so the Rushmore was your first command.
Yeah, Rushmore
Okay.
was my first command.
I think, when we met, you were a JG, or you were already a lieutenant.
No, I was a JG.
What were your other commands?
So after Rushmore out in San Diego, I went to back to the East Coast, Virginia, because I
I,
wanted to.
I could
I,
never.
I no, I was like, I want to be closer to family.
Yeah.
Um, I kind of want to experience East Coast Navy, which is hindsight 2020 kind of silly because the West Coast, I don't know, it was more not lax, not chill, but it was more,
Pass the vibe check.
yeah, it was definitely different for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Out here on the East Coast, there's like a man that does like all the ship scheduling, and I feel like on the East Coast it's less, I don't know, structured's not the right word. They're just definitely different navies for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I came to the East Coast and I was on a cruiser, the Gettysburg.
Okay. Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, they were going through modernization too.
Yep. They were
Okay.
going through kind of how you're what the cowpens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were going through modernization.
Okay. And then from there.
From there, I went to um kind of a crazy story. I broke a toe. I broke a toe and I got stashed on limited duty at ACU 4.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah. So I
LCAX.
was there for
Yeah.
LCAX. I was there for a few months, and it
Okay.
was also during the pandemic. So it had
Mm-hmm.
just started,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got assigned my shore tour that was not actually a shore tour. It was like sea duty, but my shore tour that was out at Fibron. I liked that job actually because I felt like, I was like
Yeah.
in charge of like some high up stuff. I worked with the N3 shop. So,
Operations.
yeah.
Okay.
A lot of times I was in operations. I was somehow able to, no knock to engineering, but I was able to kind of avoid the engineering like basically my entire career. I was operations, FOPS, cops, all that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
we had Fibron on board last deployment, and they're interesting. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
they do
because
play
they
a big
get,
role in the
yeah.
things that we do, so I could see where that would be fun.
And then after that, I went to ATG, Norfolk.
Ew.
The
Okay.
enemy.
Yeah.
Not really the enemy. Well, I was actually a TLO, a training liaison officer.
Okay.
So I was in charge of several ships, basic phase schedules.
Yeah, scheduling. Okay.
Yeah.
That's definitely like bigger picture stuff. So, which out of the five, which one
Four or
was your
five.
favorite?
It's a toss up between two.
Okay.
So let me explain. My favorite command was the Rushmore, my
Yeah.
first tour. There's something about, I don't know if there's something about like your first ship or your first crew or maybe your first deployment, but I met the ship out on deployment. So they were
Okay.
probably about a few months in, maybe a month or two in, and I showed up bright-eyed, bushy-tail. I was so ready. I
Yeah.
was so excited. Everything about it was just so appealing to me, and it was just a great crew.
Yeah.
Like they're still to this day like my best, like the best command.
Yeah.
But that was only for deployment. So
Okay.
that was pretty short-lived.
Yeah.
It things changed drastically.
Oh yeah, because you
And
guys did a
it
pretty extensive yard period.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we did a yard period and then we went on another short deployment called OMSI.
Yeah, which is where we met. Okay.
Yep.
And for context for everybody, she is a SWO,
Yes.
right?
So that was like maybe 6 to 8 months. Loved that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I would say my last tour at ATG was actually the most, I felt like I made the most difference in
Okay.
the organization as a whole.
Yeah.
So I definitely really enjoyed my time at ATG.
Okay. Yeah.
But of course, it's different for what I was doing as opposed to what the Chiefs are doing
Mm-hmm.
because they're constantly out, constantly inspecting, constantly certifying ships. So
Yeah.
their tempo, so to speak, was much different than my tempo at ATG.
When you were there, was it a specific kind of ships? Like, did you only deal with amphibs? Did you only deal with small boys and scheduling, or?
So it depends on the way that the N3 wants to kind of handle it.
Mm-hmm.
I was fortunate, so I did stick with amphibs,
Okay.
between 5 to 7 different amphibs.
Okay. And then you want to explain the SWO portion?
So I was a surface warfare officer,
Did you
you
choose that
know.
coming out of college?
Yeah,
Okay.
so there's not very many. So at VMI, the college I went to, you could commission out of any branch. You could commission out of, the Army, the Air Force, the Navy.
Oh,
Coast
I
Guard
didn't know
had
that.
like a different route. Yeah, so
Mm-hmm.
it's all, think of like all the service academies except you're paying for it.
Yeah.
So I chose Navy, and so out of ROTC, you only get a select number of choices. So you get, you can either be a SWO, you could be an aviator, or you could be subs, which at the time was only
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
And then you could also do special forces.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah, those were the only choices. So SWO it was.
And did you go on ships like during college where they bring the midshipmen out? Or you
Yeah.
call them midshipmen? I don't know.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So during those 4 years, I was a midshipman and we went out for 2 summers.
Okay.
So I was actually on the Mesa Verde for a few
LPD.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yep, LPD. And then I was actually on the Gettysburg for 2 weeks
Okay.
as well.
So there you were able to see what amphib small boy life was like. Yeah, I'm not a small boy sailor by any means.
Amphibs are, where's that? What's up?
What advice do you have for a female sailor, that wants to commission and be a SWO, or just anybody that wants to join the Navy as a SWO officer?
I would definitely say, well, my first piece of advice is if somebody is going to do OCS or go that commissioning route, I would definitely look at all the options because from ROTC, you only get, I said 4 options. From OCS, you could actually like choose like supply corps or you could, there's different routes you could take. So I would definitely look into like supply corps or something like that. SWO life is definitely really challenging. It can be rewarding. It's not no easy task.
Yeah.
And you definitely have to have thick skin. You have to really know what you want and you have to be a go-getter. Because at the end of the day, you're responsible for your quals, you're responsible for your sailors, you're responsible for your career. And, that's a wake-up call to a lot of people from the real world, from
Yeah.
the real world.
And especially like you have to take care of all those things while learning what the military does, and then learning, how to stand watch, and then learning how to lead a division. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very challenging. If you are going from enlisted to officer, you kind of have like more of a leg up. You kind of know how the Navy works.
Yeah.
You are experienced. You know what to expect. For somebody that's just coming in, you definitely have to stay humble. You have to go into this new life because it's more than just like a career. It's like it's your life.
Yeah.
You have to go into it with an open mind. You have to go into it expecting not to be the most knowledgeable person in the room. You have to look up to other officers, look up to other chiefs, and kind of, you can pick the bad seeds out or like pull the bad weeds out.
Yeah.
Kind of like right from wrong and you learn more as you go on. But at the end of the day, you're the only one that like the Navy will still go on. You have to have that self-discipline to come into it and be successful.
Yeah.
And a lot of times when you first get there as a brand new ensign, like you said, you are meeting your division for the first time, whether that's large or small, it all depends on,
Yeah.
the ship that you're assigned to and the division you're assigned to. Sometimes you have a chief that's great, and sometimes you don't have a chief at all, or the chief, doesn't really want to teach.
Yeah.
So that's another obstacle. But then at the same time, aside from your division, is you have to get qualified as as a surface warfare officer. You come in, you're nothing.
Yeah.
I really encourage people that are coming in with your same like age group or your same, a lot of times all the ensigns will come at the same time.
Yeah.
Maybe not a lot, but 3 to 4, anywhere from 3 to 4 to maybe 6 or 7.
Yeah.
I don't know what
Definitely.
it's like anymore now, but depending on what this life cycle of the ship is and like where they're at in their phase,
Yeah.
depends on how many you're going to get. So I really encourage people to come in together and study together, stand watch together, stand UIs together, quiz each other. And, not everybody's fortunate enough to come in with other like-minded individuals that
Yeah.
want to progress. And that sucks. But you have to find those senior enlisted that are willing to teach you and to let you stand extra watches, to, tell you, like, show you the ropes, right?
Yeah.
That's what you want coming in as well, because
So,
you don't know anything.
yeah. Oh, for sure. It's kind of like being a brand new seaman, right? You're trying to get
Yeah.
your footing right. From a chief perspective, right? We're always told like you have to train your divos. Our XO harps on us all the time. You have to train your divos. Well, from your side, your perspective, what does that look like? Because I have never needed to get a SWO pin, and obviously the SWO process for that qual is a lot different than the qual for getting ESWAS, right?
Yeah.
As a SWO officer, like you need to get your SWO pin, and as enlisted too, we have to get these pins, but it's obviously a lot more different for the officer side. So, what kind of advice would you give to chiefs as far as like how to train your divos? Because we're told to train them, but I don't. In my mind, it's not the same as training your E1s through E4. It's obviously a little bit different
Yeah.
because I am side by side leading a division. So, what kind of advice would you give to a brand new chief as far as like training their divos?
So there's a lot of give and take, right? You,
Mm-hmm.
you can't, it's a two-way streak. So it's hard. I see that it would be hard from a chief perspective if you are assigned an ensign that completely is like, oh, I know all of these things already, or you
Mm-hmm.
don't, like, I'm in charge of this division. Like, that is challenging. But if you take a step back or take them aside, what I would do is, if you get a brand new ensign assigned, or maybe they just did the ensign shuffle and
Yeah.
they're just coming from a different division or department, what I would do is like have like a closed door conversation, obviously probably with the LPO, and just be like, hey, like, I'm Chief blah blah blah, like, I'm here to train you. I'm here to kind of show you the ropes. I understand that you have obligations and you are standing watch. You're getting pulled in several different directions, but I'm here for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here to mentor you. I'm here to give you advice, and I'm here to help you lead our division.
Yeah.
And so the chief has to be understanding about all the different directions we're getting pulled into, because
Yeah.
we're standing watch on the bridge, we're standing UI in combat, we're standing um, UI once we get into port for
Mm-hmm.
standing officer of the deck. But at the same time, it's like, you could tell the ensign, I expect you to meet all those obligations, but I also expect you to be part of our team here in
Yeah.
our division, and, make sure you show face to the guys. I would always get shit on for, because, like, I thought one of the most valuable parts of my entire day was sweepers with the guys out in the hallway,
Yeah.
talking to them, getting to know who they are, getting to know their families. It doesn't take anything out of my day because I'm with my guys and I'm
Yeah.
just chit chatting.
Yeah.
Like, that's like one of the most important ways to build connection and build trust.
Yep.
So I think that's a big, Chiefs would be like, oh, why do you have a broom in your hand? It's like, I'm just hanging out, like, talking to the
Yeah.
guys. Like, if we're all doing the same task together, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Um, I, as a chief, from that perspective, I would try to be really understanding about the pressures that the ensign faces.
Mm-hmm.
But also, if you have an ensign that, like, is always in their rack, or maybe they're pressing too hard on getting their swope in, but they're not being present enough,
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, signing all the papers on Monday morning, like making sure that they're there with the guys. I was
Mm-hmm.
fortunate enough, when I first got to the ship, we were on deployment. So there was no going home at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It was standing watch, it was being with the guys, and it was having enlisted teach me, because I
Mm-hmm.
was open to it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. As long as you're
Was your
understanding.
first job on the Rushmore the commo job or no?
No, I was with OE division, so all the ETs and ICs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
great. It was great. I love them. I, still keep in contact with them.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. I couldn't have asked for a better division.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I did not have a chief at the time. They were um, in Bahrain helping with something. I can't remember exactly what they were doing, but when I got to the ship, they weren't there. So I kind of had to turn to other chiefs,
Yeah.
or I was lucky enough also to have a lieutenant that kind of like took me and a few other ensigns under her wing to kind of like, quiz us, help us, train us.
Okay. So knowing what you know now, right? As an officer, having lived that world, if money was not a factor, would you still have joined as an officer or would you have joined as enlisted?
An officer.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, people always be asking me like, "Oh, were you prior?" I'd be like,
Yeah, you definitely
"You
gave
think?"
that vibe. Like when we first met, I was like, oh, okay, she's probably like a LDL. No?
No, no. I mean, I have always kind of been not definitely not bossy is not the right word. I've definitely been a leader,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think that I would have been able to necessarily start on from the bottom and like work my way up. I essentially did that, but the officer route.
Yeah.
I just think that
It does
yeah,
look
no,
different.
it yeah, no.
Okay. All
If I
right.
was to give anybody advice on joining the military, I would say if you can, go in as an officer. But at the same time, it's like if you don't have money to go to college,
Yeah.
definitely join the Navy.
Yeah.
Join the Navy, see the world. And I truly believe that
Yeah, we saw some pretty cool
everybody, yeah,
spots.
everybody has a different path and a different career, but I definitely was fortunate enough to see the world.
Yeah.
I've been to places I literally never would go to ever.
And you guys did that that rescue mission, right? On that deployment?
Yes, I actually got there right after they did that.
Oh,
I
man. Okay.
know.
Yeah.
I know. It was so cool. It was really the photos are insane. They are very like they make me emotional.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy what they did.
So it's kind of a little bit shifting gears, but you have a son, right?
Yes,
So
I
he's
do.
how old is he now? 4?
He's 4.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
He just
So
he just turned 4.
where were you at in your career when you had him?
So, I was on my shore tour.
Okay,
So, yeah.
at ATG.
No, well, technically it was a shore tour. I don't really know how to explain it. It was supposed to be my shore tour, but I was billeted a sea billet role
Oh, okay,
at Fibron. So
okay,
yeah, I
yeah.
was at Fibron.
Okay, so you kind of you got underway?
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I got to Fibron, they had just got back from deployment with was it the UO arc? Maybe.
Yeah. Okay,
It
so
was a while ago.
can you talk about your experiences, right? Because as enlisted, right, there's kind of that like stigma that like, oh, well, officers have it easier, right? So what were your experiences as navigating being a brand new mom and an officer, at the same time? Like how was that for you?
So I would say my path is just everybody's path is different, right?
Yeah.
We've learned that through the military. I was fortunate enough. It was not easy by any means, but
Hmm.
it was not as challenging. And I do want to say that, coming into the military as a woman and, don't get pregnant like
Yeah.
before deployment. Don't get pregnant on sea duty. Like, don't do this, don't do that. And while it makes sense because, to a certain extent, you get pregnant and have a child and you have to get off the ship right before deployment. Does it screw over the crew? Does it screw over the division? Technically, yes, because they're losing manning that they're not going to be able to have otherwise.
Hmm.
Being a mother and knowing how difficult it is, especially in today's day and age, how difficult it is to get pregnant,
Yeah.
I would say you can't base your timeline around like the pipeline that you're in
Hmm.
for your job.
Yeah.
And, I say that because we're grown adults. If you want to start a family, I by all means encourage you to start a family.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line.
Yeah. I've had two sailors actually. One was on the Mirtha. I had a little mentee, and then one was on the Boxer. And right before deployment, they got pregnant, and especially when I was a chief on the Boxers, like she was so nervous to tell me, and I was like, "Girl, like I'm not, this is not something to be mad about. Like, this is something to celebrate. Yes, does it suck because we're going on deployment and we're going to miss you, like you said, 100%. But at the end of the day, like, starting a family and having a child is such a beautiful thing. Like, and it broke my heart that they were sad to tell me because they thought that I was going to be upset. Like, yes, we have a mission, but I'm still a human. Like, I'm going to be happy for you regardless.
Yeah.
And it was kind of shitty because she was nervous. Like she she was one of my sailors where her family was very involved in her life. Her mom, right? Her mom and her brother were very involved in her life, and I don't want to say they kind of like did a lot for her, but they did a lot for her. And so she was nervous. Like she was nervous to have a child, and she just kept telling me like, I don't think I'm ready. And I was like, girl, like you're never gonna be ready enough to have a kid, so just embrace it and it's okay. And we still keep in touch to this day. And she always sends pictures of her kids, and I feel like as leaders, like we need to understand, like you said, there's no perfect time to have a kid.
Yeah.
It all depends on our bodies, and if that time is right before deployment, well, I'm sorry, but like in any other situation, the Navy's gonna keep pushing. So why
Yeah.
is this situation not like the rest? I'm not here saying like, oh yeah, get pregnant before deployment, but life is life, and if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. I don't
Yeah,
think
for
that
sure.
women should feel bad at all.
You
And
know, what's crazy is like if present day me was in that sailor's shoes, oh, I would be so nervous. And it's not because of you, it's just because of what is the chain of command going to think? What is my division going to think? What are my friends going to think?
yeah,
Like, there's such a negative stigma, but like you said, it's such a beautiful thing to have a family,
yeah, yeah,
which is just, it's crazy. Of course, you're going to have like the people that have something to say about when a woman decides to have a child, like to get pregnant or try for a family, is crazy to me because
hmm
it's like, oh, she's just trying to get out of deployment. Is she trying to get out of 6 to 8 months of deployment, or is she trying to raise something for 18 whole
yeah,
years? Like,
yeah. 18
riddle
year
riddle me
commitment
that.
for six
Yeah,
months is like that
yeah,
doesn't make sense to me. A lifetime
correct.
commitment, yeah. And then
That's crazy.
people are, I'm sure they're gonna listen and say like, oh yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. No, I do know what I'm talking about, and I do know that you know we women don't just say, I'm gonna go get pregnant tomorrow. Like it's a lot more to just saying that. As far as missing a deployment, I don't know. I think to me that's stupid.
Yeah, I think that sailor was really lucky to have you to like talk to, you know?
I try. I try.
I
Uh,
actually, when I got pregnant, one of the at Fibron, one of the high up um people, when they had left to go on a mission or whatever, and when they came
mm,
back, I was like super pregnant. And they looked at me and they looked me up and down. I will never forget this. They looked me up and down and said, y- he said something along the lines of, at least you are pregnant uh, at the right time in your slow timeline. I was like,
yeah.
I was taken aback. I was like,
Thanks.
wow.
Cool, bro. Cool
Yeah.
story, man. No one cares.
Yeah. I was just
Yeah.
like, okay, at least.
Yeah. You're
Wild.
doing it's like no, you're not over here like I'm gonna do the Navy a favor and get pregnant now. Like that's so dumb. Obviously everybody has a bunch of obstacles when it comes to getting pregnant, and then that first couple months, daycare, things like that. What obstacles did you go through, when you had your son?
I was leaving Fibron and I was going to ATG
Mm-hmm.
for my actual shore duty. And daycare was hard. Drop off was obviously hard.
Mm-hmm.
Pumping was challenging. I will say, I think I don't know how it is Navy wide, but I will say that um, I had a pump room. It was tiny,
Mm-hmm.
but it was nice. Like
Okay.
at least I had a place to go.
Yeah.
And I know that they're trying to make it better. Even at that building alone, they're trying to make it better.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I think that, and then I went to a few buildings also like Fleet Forces and stuff. They have like large pump rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
it's
because I mean
nice.
that's like on a schedule, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was super. timely with that, like I am with everything. So I was like always keeping track.
Yeah.
It is kind of sad. Like I would work my schedule to make sure I could be in meetings. I would make sure that I could like attend everything that was
Hmm.
required of me. You know, I was one of those girls that like I was pregnant, boots laced up, like going to work a few days before I went into labor. So I was like, I need to set an example.
Yeah. I had actually my first LPO in the Navy. She was the IT1. She was PTing with us until she gave birth. But she was like a fitness freak. Like she was
Oh, yeah.
like insane. Like she was super fit all the way up until she gave birth.
I wasn't. I was scarfing down some McDonald's.
Hey, it's okay.
It was delicious, whatever.
Yeah. And then when you got out, how old was he?
I just got out, so he was 3.
Okay. So did he get to see, that side of you and the Navy side?
I don't think he will remember. I think
No.
that when I tell him stories about like deployments and like
Mhm.
what I did, I think he'll think it was really cool.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that I can like share that with him, that huge part of my life with
Yeah.
him, but he's not gonna remember. And I was very fortunate, like I said, like I was on shore duty, so like I was able to attend like Mother's Day tea. I was able
Mhm.
to go to his spring play. Like it was it was nice to be able to go to attend his things.
Yeah.
And I think that as leaders, we need to kind of differentiate between you can't miss this and you can go spend time and watch your son's spring play. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I definitely believe in that. Like, if some leaders are like, it's about showing face, it's about staying at work at the like making it more of corporate America. And I
Mhm.
think maybe the Navy's kind of failing us in that way
Yeah.
of it's like this is a 9 to 5, but it's not because we're on call 24/7. We support and defend.
Yeah.
And if I am able to go 30 minutes, even if you need me to come back, I'll come back.
Yeah.
But let me go see my kids play.
Yeah.
And me as an officer with my sailors, I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah, I think you and I
Like,
are the same in that we had kids later on in our career, Vice being like a junior sailor or junior officer. And so we kind of saw, I don't want to say we had the leeway to make the decisions of like, oh, I'm going to go do this today with my kid. But,
mhm.
the sad reality is we kind of did, right? And for me, at least, right, I saw how that affected me. And I was like, wait, time out, I should be able to let my sailors go do that with their families too because it's no different.
Yeah,
Like there's rank structure, yes, but at the end of the day, like our family doesn't follow that rank structure. And so for
yeah,
me, I would always tell my guys, like, because we were getting ready for deployment, but I would say, like, hey, if your family needs you, your family needs you. You know,
yeah,
work will happen. We've got a whole division, and I tell my guys all the time, like, there's going to be days where we have to pick up other people's weight, but you can bet that there's going to be a day where you need your weight picked up and so and so can pick up that weight just as easy. But yeah, I completely agree. I think that it's kind of stupid that like the whole like, oh, we got to stay here till 1600. Okay, but like if work is done. If we got to be able to pick up our kids, like we can't always put that on our spouse because sometimes we don't even have a spouse,
yeah,
and
for sure.
military kids, they are resilient for sure, but sometimes like we don't have to put them through what we put them through. As a chief, I empower junior sailors to just ask because
Yeah,
sometimes we've wired them so much to the point where they don't feel comfortable asking. It's like, no,
yeah,
man, like advocate for your family. That's your family. You created that. Like you should feel okay enough to ask your chief like, "Hey, can I please go do this?"
yeah. And it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to, it's different to ask in front of the entire division. And it's
Mhm.
also different. It's a case by case basis,
Yeah.
right? If someone's trying to get out of work constantly, that's one thing. But if
Yeah.
it's like here and there, it's give and take. There shouldn't be, I strongly believe there should not be a single point of failure.
Mhm.
Of course, op tempo and stuff, like if you're doing like workups or
Yeah.
something crazy, of course, like you're not going to be able to make all of your kids' events, and that's
Yeah.
totally fine. And they know that, the family knows that,
Mhm.
like that's kind of like the expectation that you should be setting with your family.
Yeah.
But if times are slow or, it can be avoided. I feel like you should just go.
Yeah, for sure.
But
At
you
the time and
also,
place.
exactly, but
Yeah.
you also need to make sure that, hey, the chief and the divo are on the same page.
Yeah.
And that the divo, the divo doesn't need to go tell the department head, hey, like ET3 is going to be blah 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 blah. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, like, that's an in-house
Yeah.
thing, but
Yeah.
the chief and the divo should always be on the same page,
Yeah,
in
for
my
sure.
opinion.
Yeah. That single point of failure thing is a big thing now.
My gosh, yeah, that's crazy.
So kind of shifting gears, right? You started your own business. Well, you
I
were kind of
did.
doing little like side gigs right before you got out,
Yeah,
right?
so I started the business technically when I was still in,
Okay.
because I was like, I need to get momentum
Mm-hmm.
if I want to make this work.
Okay. So talk about your business a little bit.
Okay, so I'm a photographer here out in Virginia Beach, Hamptons Roads area. I started photography. I just was like, I'm really good at taking photos. I know them angles.
Yeah.
I was like, I was always the one, going out with friends at dinner that was like taking the pictures and like doing this, doing that. And I was like, I could do this. Like, I kind of really enjoy this.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So were you like a year out
yeah,
or like
just about.
okay.
Yeah, just about. I started and I was like,
Did
let's
you
for it.
already know for sure that like hey, I'm getting out?
Yes.
Okay. So, you said like, "Hey, yeah, I'm actually really good at taking pictures," but like how did you form that into a business while still in the military?
No sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I I was like, okay, let's see if I can do both these. Like I said, I was on shore tour. I was kind of making my own schedule while also being on top of my own. Like, I knew all my ship schedules like the back of my hand.
Yeah.
I attended every meeting, so I was good in that respect. And so I was like, let me dabble and see, most of my sessions were at golden hour, so like
Yeah.
sunset, so it was after working hours. You run it by your chain of command, like, oh, I have another job, like, blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
And then I was just, yeah, I would find clients. I was charging like next to nothing to just get that experience
Mhm.
and get a portfolio built. And I just kept going and going. And I was like, okay, let me build a website.
Yeah.
So it's actually crazy. So I had one of the girls on my second tour. She's like a little code monkey, and she builds websites.
Yeah.
And so she saw that I had just started like a photography business, and she was like, "Oh, like I could build your website." And I was like, "Okay, how much?"
Yeah.
Because it costs a lot of money
Yeah.
to get an actual website built,
Mhm.
domain, all that. And so, yeah, I was one of her trials, and together we kind of built it how I wanted it to look. And
Yeah.
yeah, I got
Power of
really lucky with that.
networking. Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It was really cool when she reached out. I was like, bet.
Yeah. Okay. And so you obviously got out and you said like what okay, so that's my thing, right? Getting out. At what point did you know like, "Hey, I don't need a full-time job. Like this is going to be my full-time job." Cuz that's scary.
Um, yeah, very scary. So, luckily I have a partner who, he's kind of letting me figure it out.
Mhm.
And so, we're able to, is it a huge pay cut? It's an insane pay cut.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Mhm.
But I'm passionate about it. And, he was like, I'll give, like, let's wait till the end of the year. We can kind of see where we're at and, go from there.
Yeah.
So it's not completely, shot.
What do you mean?
Like, I am not nearly making enough to take care of just like my entire family by
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah, I
So
mean, and that,
together our
yeah.
incomes, yeah.
I mean, we live in a world where, having kids and a family, it's very rare nowadays that one person's working. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, at least he's supporting you. Now you get to do what you love.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's really nice to have that support. And I just started doing weddings, and then last year, knowing I wanted to go into this full time, last year when we did our taxes, we actually sat down with the CPA and like did our taxes And then I learned a ton from her about,
Okay.
what I should be keeping track of. So it was nice I was in business, so to speak, but I
Mm-hmm.
also had my other job. But it was nice to meet with her and figure out, okay, like, what do I need to be keeping track of for write-offs? Like, what do I need to be? It's just like a great explanation of everything. That way, I'm going into this next tax season having all this knowledge about entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Was
Yeah.
there one
So,
thing about entrepreneurship that you were surprised about that you kind of nobody really talked about when you were doing research?
I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, everything. So, SEO is crazy. SEO is, I'm sure you know all about that, but it's just
Mm-mm.
figuring out like what keywords to use. So when people Google you, like you come
Oh.
up. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. All of that's just lessons learned. And then everybody that's not a business owner will be like, that's a write-off. That's a write-off. That's a
Yeah,
write-off. That's a
yeah, I
write-off.
hear
And it's
that.
like,
Yeah.
okay, so it's a write-off to pay less than what you're already gonna owe. So
Mm-hmm.
nothing is free.
Yeah.
Like, no. That's not how it works. Yes,
Yeah.
it's a write-off, but it's not free. That's not how
Mm-hmm.
it works. So that's probably the biggest, like, when people say that, I just like cringe.
So, I guess what advice would you give to somebody that's kind of, afraid to put both feet in and really commit to their business when it's what they really want to do?
I would say definitely have an emergency fund.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely have enough to where if your business fails, you're able to kind of fall back on that until you get on your feet with another job.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe double dip for a while until you feel comfortable enough to go full time.
Yeah.
Definitely figure out the cost of what starting up is going to cost you. So, something that I didn't really know, I mean, I knew how expensive photography gear was, but it's insane
Yeah.
because you have your bodies, your lenses, your backup body, your backup lens, your flash, your backup
Mm-hmm.
flash, all the SD cards, hard drives, everything. It's a very, very expensive profession,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very difficult to market to, people. Getting your photos done is a luxury,
Yeah.
so it's not a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
So being a photographer that understands that and doesn't push but also doesn't undervalue what they're worth is
Mm-hmm.
like huge.
Yeah.
Because of course when I was starting out I was like charging next to nothing because I wanted to get that experience and I wanted to get clients and
Yeah.
I wanted to build a portfolio. But knowing how much taxes, like how much you owe in taxes, knowing how much they take from any type of transaction automatically off the
Yeah.
jump, all of the gear, all of the time and effort, all of the editing, you know, don't sell yourself short.
Yeah.
So I've kind of accepted like my clients will find me, the right people will come to me, the people that like my style will come to me. Like it will either work out or it won't, and I just have to dive in. So
Yeah.
that's kind of what I've been doing.
And it's also too, right? They always say like, "Oh, we're friends." It's like, no, no, no. Like if we were friends, you would support
You would
me.
support.
Yeah, you would
Exactly.
support because you know that this is what I love doing, and they should also know like this is how I'm making my living. I always thought that was weird. Like, oh, if you're hook me up,
Yeah.
we're friends. It's like, come on, dog. Like, are we really friends?
Yeah, no handouts. It's
Yeah,
it's wild. When I was still in the Navy, I had just started this and the girls in the office, the guys in the office, they were like hyping me up. Like it's great to have that network. And then, some of the people in the office did book me and they paid full price, like no
yeah,
questions asked. Like that's the type of people that you want in your corner. That's the
hmm,
type of people that you want rallying. And even if your friends or your family don't want to support you in, having those transactions and like affording you essentially, you can share, you can
yeah.
follow, you can
Even
comment.
tell
Like there's
your
so
friends
many
about
ways.
it. Yeah.
Exactly. There's so
Hmm.
many ways to support. And yeah.
So, what kind of photography do you do now?
So I do it all, except I don't really do product photography and I don't do headshots. I do branding, but I don't do like headshots or like real estate
Okay.
type of photos. But lifestyle, weddings, you
Babies?
know.
Do you do babies?
Yep, I do babies.
Oh.
I offer a bump to baby package.
Yeah,
So yeah,
that's
I
cute.
offer it all.
And you just started doing weddings, right?
Recently, yeah, I just
Yeah,
started doing
that's
weddings.
that's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
very it's a lot, but I
mhm.
love it. I love it. When they get their photos back, I'm just like, oh, it melts my heart.
Yeah. All right. Well, if anybody's looking for a photographer, you said the Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach area,
Yep.
right? All
Hampton Roads,
right.
Virginia Beach, Norfolk,
Yeah.
Moyock, North Carolina.
Dang. Dang, you
Yeah.
travel. Yeah. All right. Well,
I
any of
do
my
I do travel. I do
yeah.
travel. I have an FAQ page on my website that'll
Yeah.
answer some quick questions.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, we'll definitely drop all that info here.
cool.
But all right. Hey, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
We've been friends for a while, so I admire what you're doing. I always see your work, and no, it's funny because knowing you, you're super outgoing, but then you're also, I know you get nervous, and so seeing you post all that content, right, just like putting yourself out there, for
Oh,
your
yeah.
business, yeah, it's super admiring. So I just
The
want to say
reels.
good job, like you're killing it. All right, everybody. Well, this concludes this episode. I hope you were able to take a lot of information from it. Shout out to you. Thank you for coming on. Definitely check out all her socials. I'll have them listed. And peace out, everybody.